Good evening, class, and welcome to this week's episode of Braid School. Today's lesson is going to be on braiding hair. There are so many brands, types, and lengths of braiding hair these days, but not all of them are created equal. I also know that visiting the beauty supply store can be super overwhelming at times, so I hope this video will help guide you on how to shop for braiding hair, how to stretch blunt braiding hair, and how to get the best bang for your buck. So hit that subscribe button, grab your notes, and let's get started. So we're going to first start off by talking about the basic brands of braiding hair. What I'm showing you here now is the cheapest versions in my market. It's the 100% Kanekalon fiber hair, which means it has a fair level of flexibility and can be shaped with indirect heat, aka hot water dipping, which we will discuss in a later video. This hair is on the cheaper end of the spectrum because the fibers are very light and feel plasticky to the touch. The hair also gives the illusion it is full, but because it is very fine, you typically need 12 to 14 packs of it for a full head. I've seen this hair range in price from $1 to $5. This hair still finds its use mainly because this type of hair comes in a very wide range of color options. I typically don't use this hair on a regular basis, but I do keep a wide range of color options available to me, especially when I have a custom color combination, especially when the colors are vibrant. Next up the tier of braiding hair is the OG Expressions braiding hair. This hair is the most popular brand because the texture is the perfect yaki, making it easy to grip and hold the braid together. It still feels soft and flexible, so it has a hair-like appearance. It is also made of Kanekalon fibers, so it can be easily manipulated with indirect heat. The cuticle of the hair is also very, very smooth, which minimizes flyaways. And because of the length, it allows you to cut it in many different ways. The only hang up is having to stretch the hair for taper looks, which can be super time consuming. Keep watching because in just a bit, we're going to talk about how to cut and stretch this hair properly. Another hang up with this hair is that this hair is coated with alkaline lye, which a lot of people find themselves allergic to, causing the hair to be really itchy. If you have a client who has this allergy, this can be remedied by soaking the hair in vinegar overnight and allowing the hair to air dry. Doing this will create more flyaways and lower the heat resistance of the hair, but your client will thank you in the long run. Lastly, we have the product that's been changing lives in these streets. Yes, I am talking about pre-stretched braiding hair. When I tell you I prayed for this product for years, I mean my prayers were heavy because I absolutely hated cutting and stretching hair. I hated it with a passion. It was literally the bane of my existence. So when I tell you I love this stuff, I love this stuff. Most brands, including Expressions, are making their own version of the pre-stretched and pre-feathered hair. The Freetress brand is pretty popular among those clients who have finer hair texture because the hair is on the smoother side instead of the yaki side. The brand I tend to use most frequently is the Easy Braid by Spectra. It comes in a variety of lengths and colors and has been highly requested by my client base because it is not coated in the alkaline lye, making it antibacterial and itch-free. Because of these properties, the hair looks the most natural, so it does have flyaways over time, but it is super lightweight so the braids aren't heavy, therefore reducing the amount of tension. Pre-stretched hair saves so much time in the long run, but I have been asked, what do you do if you can't find a color or a length you need in pre-stretched? Well, you go back to the OG Expressions. So let's talk really quickly about how to cut and stretch this hair. Make sure you're taking good notes because we're about to have a quick math lesson. Expressions will typically come in either 82 or 84 inches in length. The length I have here is in 84 inches. If I use the full length of it for a braid split in half, I will have 42 inches of length with blunt ends, which could probably be stretched to an additional 3 to 5 inches. Now, if I cut the hair in half and fold it into two, I now have a stretch length of 21 inches folded with blunt ends, and I could probably stretch this out another 3 inches to 24. Now to get this hair into thirds, I'm going to fold it in 3 equal sections and cut at the folds. Once I cut it, I should have 3 sections about 28 inches in length. So when I fold them over, in the middle, I should have 14 inches in length with blunt ends, and then add about 3 additional inches for stretching. The same goes for splitting this into 5 sections. So I'm just going to fold them into equal parts and cut them in the folds. And mathematically, each section should be about 17 to 18 inches. Fold it in half, we'll round that out to about 9 inches. Add about 3 inches after stretching, and now you have 12 inches of hair to work with. Now let's stretch a section. This section I have here was cut into thirds, so I should have relatively 27 to 28 inches of hair. Folded in half, I have about 14 inches blunt, and we want to get this stretched to about 17 or 18 inches. So I'm going to grab the hair kind of close to the end there and tightly grip it and begin pulling on small strands of the hair. Just really gently. I don't want to pull large sections because those sections are going to be chunky. I want to make sure I'm pulling very, very small sections. And using a wire bristle brush that I get from the Dollar General or Dollar Tree, they're only $1, I'm going to brush out the ends. Switching both sides to make sure everything is smoothed out. And there we have it, a nice tapered pull. Let's check that length. Looks like we are at our goal 17, 18 inches. Now let's say you're running out of hair or you want the ends to taper even more. Here's another way to add even more length after pre-stretching. What I'm doing here is splitting a section of hair in half, the section I plan to use for a braid. And I'm lining up the 2 sections and just sliding them in opposite directions, creating a new midpoint. And there is my new piece of hair. They are off-centered and tapered a little bit more at the bottom. And let's check that length. So now we've gone from 17 inches to about 19 and a half, 20 inches. Heads up, I'm a total math nerd, so let's hash out these numbers one more again. So if I'm starting with an 84-inch piece of hair and I fold it over in half, then I have 42 inches of blunt hair to work with. If I stretch that 42 inches, I would have 45 inches or up to 45 inches stretched. Again, taking that same 84-inch piece and cutting it in half. Again, that first one was fold, the second one is cut. I'd have 2 42-inch pieces, which I would fold in half, leaving me with 21 inches of blunt cut plus 3 is about 24 inches stretch, and so on and so forth. So when you have a client who is asking you about specific numbers, you can better assess how much hair you're going to need, especially if you don't supply the hair. Usually when you cut the hair into thirds, that usually falls about waist length. If you cut the hairs into 4s, that falls about mid-back length, and then so forth and so on. Usually for bobs, you'll want to keep the hair at the blunt length, but you know, it is what it is, and you kind of have to fill it out based on your client's needs. So that concludes this week's session, which means it's now discussion time. If you're a braider, what are your favorite brands and why? And if you're a client, what brands do you prefer and why? Also, does having pre-stretched hair matter to you if it gets you out of the chair faster? Inquiring minds want to know. Of course, we welcome all comments for a healthy discussion here, so leave any questions you have below. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you learned something, hit that like button and share it with your friends so I can continue to bring you content just like this. Thanks for joining today's session, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.